Whole CEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in weight loss, mindset, and business. Learn our top tips to set you up for success so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, and feel unstoppable. Hey guys, I'm so excited. We have Julie Simon here with us today. Hey Julie.
Hi.
All right, I'll tell you guys a little bit about Julie and we'll jump right into the topic. Super important stuff. Julie Simon is a psychotherapist, life coach, and best-selling author of Emotional Eater's Repair Manual, When Food is Comfort. And Julie is founder of 12-week emotional eating recovery program, an alternative to dieting that addresses the true causes of overeating and weight gain, emotional and spiritual hunger, and body imbalance. For nearly 3 decades, she's been helping overeaters, imbalanced eaters, heal their relationships with themselves, their bodies, and food, stop dieting, lose excess weight, and keep it off. So Julie, I am so happy to have you here. I want to jump into it right away and talk about how many of us start out the new year with the best of intentions and resolutions, and then our emotional triggers kick in, and then all of that goes out the window. So how would you like to address that particular topic?
Yeah, well, I think that's such a timely topic, really, at any point in the year, but especially in the new year. You know, we start out and we have all these ideas of how we're going to take care of ourselves and our bodies. And often that includes going on a diet or changing what we're eating. And then, and everything's going well until we hit some of those emotional triggers, right?
Right.
Then we find ourselves
for food.
We find ourselves grabbing food. We find ourselves overeating at meals. Maybe we even are occasionally, or more than occasionally, having a binge. And we keep thinking to ourselves, what happened? I had such good intentions. Why is this happening? So it's really important for us to, and by the way, all of us eat emotionally. I mean, so we all do a little bit of emotional eating. And there's really no problem with it unless it's, affecting our health. Our health is degrading from it, or if we're gaining weight. So, but if we're having a lot of emotional triggers and we're doing a little too much overeating or imbalanced eating, then we're going to want to spend a little time addressing what exactly are those emotional triggers, like what's triggering me. So the most important thing here is mindfulness, and mindfulness is a big buzzword today, and it's been around for decades, mindfulness. But what does it really mean? It means pulling away when you notice that you keep snacking a lot, or you want to keep eating and you're already full. Pull away from the food. Maybe even pull out a piece of paper if you have a journal. You don't have to do any formal journaling, and just write down, what is it that I'm feeling? What's causing me to want to keep eating? Am I feeling bored? Am I feeling empty? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling hurt? Maybe I'm feeling happy and excited. Maybe that's when I overeat, right? Let's get really clear. Let's get mindful of those triggers and know what they are and know how we're experiencing them in our body. That's the very first step. That first step is actually the first step of what we call self-regulation. And self-regulation means being able to tame some of those wayward behaviors, tame some of those disruptive impulses, and kind of follow through on what we want to be doing, like those New Year's resolutions. So the very first step is going to be identifying those emotional triggers. And for some people who've had trauma, they may be triggered, every day, multiple times a day. So it's going to be very important to get very clear on what you're feeling.
So what am I feeling is step one, and we've all been there with emotional eating. Like you said, it's not necessarily always bad, but the awareness is step one. And then also I would like to know for our audience, how might we eat more mindfully and listen to the signals our body is sending?
Well, that's a really good question too. So we're going to get clear on those emotional signals or triggers, right? We also want to get clear on our body signals. So our body gives us a multitude of signals every day to help us stay in balance. There are these phenomenal machines that give us these signals like hunger, hunger signals, hunger cues, signals like cravings, signals like fullness cues. We also have a lot of other signals like bloating and inflammation. And, our body is constantly informing us. And if we listen, we pay attention to those precious signals, those emotional signals like hurt and sadness and loneliness, and those body signals like hunger and fullness and cravings, we're going to go very far with that. So we want to get to know our hunger signals. Start the day, don't eat until you actually notice true hunger signals. If you have very mild hunger signals, maybe do a little longer fast. I mean, research now shows that fasting is incredibly good for the body and the brain.
Absolutely.
So if you're not hungry when you wake up, wait until you feel true physiological hunger and eat. When it's time to eat, notice your cravings. What are you looking for? Are the oranges looking really good? Maybe your body is telling you it needs vitamin C. Are you, really interested in that protein shake? That's what you really want. Pay attention to your cravings. Also, on the topic of cravings, sometimes we have really imbalanced or wayward cravings, and that aren't natural. Like some people say to me, I'm craving sugar all day long. I'm craving sugar when I wake up. I crave sugar in the afternoon. All I want is flour and sugar. Well, that's not healthy. And that's the sign, that kind of craving. We do want to take note of that kind of craving, but that kind of craving is a sign that there's something imbalanced. Or a craving for caffeine, constantly wanting to get a cup of coffee or a Diet Coke or even a cigarette, nicotine. Those cravings are important to pay attention to. They're signals from your body telling you something is out of balance. And especially with those kind of signals, you may need to work with a practitioner, to help you kind of figure out what the imbalances are. They could be hormonal, could have food allergies, blood sugar irregularities. So we're going to want to take a look at all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the fasting myself, and I love the listening to your body. That's like all good information. And when you are craving these things like only carbs and sugar, isn't it somewhat addicting? Because I felt like over the holidays, when you start eating sugar and you don't regularly eat sugar, I myself found myself wanting more chocolate where I previously didn't have it around.
Exactly. And because I think it is really addictive, and it does change your chemistry a little bit. Some of it makes you more acidic. And when your pH is more acidic, you kind of tend to have an affinity for more acidic foods. So sometimes we do have to just reset, maybe do a little abstinence on something. I don't like the word forever, and I don't think there are any forbidden foods. I don't like to say you could never have sugar again or never have flour again. I know some people who have very serious addictions will maybe choose to stay off of it for life, and that's fine. But sometimes just a little abstinence to reset can really help. But I want to go back for a second to, we talked about those incredible signals our bodies are giving us. Also, fullness cues. When you are eating, let's just say you're eating a big apple, right, and some almonds. If you pay attention at a certain point in time, you're going to feel the very first fullness cue, which is called stretch sensation. It's a little subtle sensation that your body's had enough food. That sensation gets stimulated by fiber. So that's another piece that we want to be including more fiber in our eating. But if we are eating fibrous whole plant foods as much as we can, we're going to hear our fullness cues better, okay? Because that's how we're wired. We're wired to take in a lot of fiber and then to trigger those fullness cues. And then pay attention. So when the fullness cues hit, is it easy for you to stop eating? Do you say, oh, my body's telling me I'm full, I need to stop? Or do you say, I'm not stopping, I want to keep eating, right? And
Right.
no judgment, no shaming, just asking yourself, what's going on now? My body has just said it's had enough, and I get to eat again when I get hungry again. There's no shortage, especially we're in the United States, there's no shortage here of food. So why do I not want to stop? This again is where we're going to go back now to look at those emotional triggers. What am I feeling now?
What am I feeling? And then listening to your body. And for many of us, food is our main source of pleasure, excitement, soothing, comfort, distraction, like your best friend. something you look forward to. What are a few ways to find balance outside of depending on food so heavily to be your bestie?
Well, that's such a good question. And so if we think about how when the emotional triggers hit, that we're going to, and by the way, those could even be cognitive triggers like deeply negative thoughts, self-defeating thoughts that trigger even more emotions like hurt and pain and sadness. So we're going to take a look at those triggers. We said we're going to allow ourselves to feel all those emotions and notice how you feel those emotions in your body. How do you know? Take time with that when we're being mindful. How do you know what sadness feels like versus anger? So we're going to feel those feelings, okay? And then to address your question, how are we going to now address those feelings without turning to food? So maybe we become aware. What we want to do is become aware of what do I need when I'm feeling that way. So do I need comfort? Do I need reassurance? I ask people sometimes to think about what is there not enough of, right? Like, so I'm feeling really sad tonight. What is there not enough of? I'm really feeling really hurt and angry. What is there not enough of? Maybe good understand, validation, good listening, intimacy, kindness, warmth, comfort, soothing. What is it that I'm needing? And finally, and this is what I talk about in both of my books, and I really teach people how to do this, access inside of yourself after you identified what you're feeling and you identified what you're truly longing for, what you really need, okay, which isn't food. Access an inner nurturing voice. Find that voice inside of you that's loving and kind and nurturing, and see if you can talk to that young part of you that's sad or mad or scared, and tell her that you're there for her and you can help her meet those needs. And then you'll spend some time figuring out, how can I meet those needs for understanding or validation or soothing, or we have to do a little more sleuthing on that, right?
Absolutely. Well, because I've learned from a nutritionist that I interviewed once that a cookie is never going to solve your problem, whether your husband, your boss, or your life. So it's good to become more mindful like that and figure out what you're feeling and more self-soothing, and realize that if you do reach for food, then you even have to deal with feeling bad about that afterwards, right?
Right. Then we have that whole set of feelings to deal with. Then we have those emotional triggers, shame, guilt, remorse, right? We've got to feel those feelings and then ask ourselves again, what is it that I need? You know, when I feel ashamed and guilty that I overate, probably what I need is some compassion. Probably I need some self-forgiveness. Probably I need some patience with this process, right? We can, any set of feelings we're having, we can go right back through this. What am I feeling? What do I truly need, or what am I truly longing for? What is there not enough of? And then bring in that inner nurturing voice. And the final thing I want to say about all that is that that process, which I designed, I call it an inner conversation. It's in my first book, and in my second book, When Food is Comfort, we go into a really deep dive on that. That process is designed to rewire your brain. And so when your brain gets rewired, you handle emotional triggers so much easier, with so much more ease.
I love it. Well, you're like a wealth of information for people that want to really hit their goals and beat themselves up. We all beat ourselves up when we don't get there, instead of the self-love piece and the patience piece, which is just so hard in our society of just go, go, go. So it's really nice to have the way to really dig a little deeper to the actual root cause of what's causing this behavior in the first place, so that you can heal it and not set your goals and then not hit them and then feel even worse and get into that whole negative spin. So thank you so much, Julie, for all of that information.
You're welcome. And we're really talking about self-connection, really connecting to ourselves. And like you say, stopping living such a hectic pace and so disconnected from ourselves. It's all about self-connection. Yeah.
I think we need to bring that back, and thank you for that. And where can people find you, Julie?
They can go to my website, overeatingrecovery.com, and I've got lots of blog articles that they can read. They can download chapters from both books if they want to get started looking at the books. And then if they want more help, I've got a 12-week emotional eating recovery program. It's in a teleseminar format. You don't have to be in Los Angeles. So lots of additional help if needed.
Well, thank you, Julie, and I really appreciate all of your information.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure, Lisa.
Thanks for joining WholeCEO with Lisa G. This episode is brought to you by my friends at WholeCEO. Looks like a beautiful dress watch, acts like a smartwatch, so you can go from your workout to a dinner, screen your calls, track your activity, even your sleep. Share this with your friends for a chance to win a WholeCEO watch.